Peace, family. I want to ask you a question. What is an economic model that could work in Africa? In order to answer this question that I asked you, which will now be reflected to me because clearly you watching me, I'm not watching you, right? This is a question that's really important for us. Why would we want to know about an economic model that could work in Africa? When we address this question, when we get to the heart of this question, we realize that it informs us on what kind of ideology that we can engage in order to be a liberated people. All right? I want to look into this book right here once, just for you. Okay? So this book right here, the Book of Power, we're going to look into the glossary. So the glossary on page 532 will give you what is called the law of gain. All right? So the law of gain is simply buying in the cheapest market and selling in the dearest. Okay? This was something that J.A. Rogers articulated, and he articulated this, ironically, in opposition to Marcus Garvey, who was saying that we want to do racial economics, right? So in the glossary, I point out that he was right about the law. This is the law of how you make gains. You buy in the cheap market and you sell in a dear market, you know? But the truth is that all economics, like he was wrong in the application in the sense that all economics is truly race and group economics. All right, all economics is group economics, but your group is your race. All right, and namely, all economics is directed by the leadership, by the overclass, by the elite, whatever word you want to call it. These are the people that truly direct the economy. So the law of gain, as practiced by these elites, these racial elites, is how nations are able to provide for their racial commoners. So the overclass provides for the underclass through this law of gain, all right, and the population at large, and so the commoners, the underclass, do not actually generate the wealth, but instead the overclass, the elite, by way of markets, do. So it's really important to understand that every economy is based around their markets, based around what they have, what they can get cheaply, and what they can sell to people who need, people who would pay exorbitant amounts for it. And so how the economy in Africa would work, how we can get it to work, is through, every ideology informs on an economy. Okay? So the ideology that I would promote for you, and I'm going to be more explicit in later books, is this idea of Pan-African federalism, right? And this is basically, when you say federalism, you realize that essentially you're going to have regions in Africa that are going to have different resources, different commodities, different services, different products. They're going to have different, different economy everywhere. And what you want to do is you want to have a free exchange between these different economies. You want to have this free exchange within ourselves in order to maximize the how the market operates. And then as well, you may want to, if you do, and of course it's not up to me, it's not up to you, it's up to the future, our future political leaders. And this right here is the book I want every future political leader to study deeply. But why? But you want these future political leaders to understand that if they do engage outside of themselves, right? If they do engage outside of our continent or our region or whatever, or our political entity, that they are buying cheap and selling, expensively. Okay? And that really truly is the whole basis of economic prosperity. There's not really much else to it. The only thing that makes federalism, Pan-African federalism, even more so articulated is the fact that if you say it's a federation, what that means is that you're going to have a overbody over the different subordinate administrations, and that can then engage on that outside level, or even within internally, and resolve disputes internally, and that's really can cause not only stability but also better negotiation and better power for us. and this you would differentiate between a federation, or even you could call it a confederation. Sorry, you could differentiate between a confederation or a unitary state. A confederation would be that all of these different entities, while they are engaging and interacting with each other, they do not like they don't have to answer to anything per se, so they can do outside negotiations, but that's going to make us weaker. You don't want the different states of Africa to engage on the outside, because essentially the outside could then pit us against each other, as opposed to if we all are in a federation, or we all have a federal government in a sense, and that federal government then says, oh look, you're looking for these resources, you're not going to get it cheaper on the other side of Africa. You're not going to get it cheaper in Southern Africa. You're not going to get it cheaper in Western Africa. We're not going to get it cheaper in Eastern Africa. You're going to get the same price regardless of where you go, because we're in a federation. We have that, and of course, some people will say, well, we don't even want to engage with other people, and that's fine. But like I said, it's not the choice that we have to make. It's a choice for the future political leaders, or it's a choice that we make if we are leaders in this nation state, this super state. So that right there, is pretty much the basis of what and how Africa can benefit from an economy, and that really is just, we have to build a state. We have to build a state, and that state will. If we, and this is another reason why we do federation. Actually, I want to explain that too, because you might say, well, what about the unitary model, right? What if we all just so on and so forth, right? The reality is that you want different regions of Africa to have some sort of autonomy. We do not want to do away with our own culture. We do not want one Africa per se. We want Africa to be able to continue to develop as it were, but we just want to have an umbrella body over it, and the beautiful diverse cultures of Africa, and the diverse engagements and interactions and all that. We want to continue that, and we want our people to practice autonomy, practice self-determination. We just want the borders open. We want to be able to move and get citizenship wherever you want. We want to foster our own leadership, but at the same time, we're not looking to suppress our own culture. So that's really the difference between a federation and, let's say, you could say a unitary state. You could even say a nation if you want. But the reality is that this is what we want to accomplish. And of course, if you want to accomplish the same thing, like I said, you got this book you can get. This is the Book of Power. It's just a wonderful read. You can get it on Amazon, and not just that. You can join us on the Discord. We have a Discord. We have whatever, and you can subscribe, like, share, do all that stuff. This was actually just a voice test. Hopefully you like my voice. And if you do, like I said, you just subscribe, share, and like. But this is really an important question, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And if not, just subscribe, like, share, and future, and just leave a comment. And future videos could be to your enjoyment. But thank you so much for listening. And Shem Yom Hotep.